Today's guest has impacted so many lives, bringing a national organization into Michigan, raising money for racing chairs, and allowing athletes with disabilities a chance to experience the joy and feeling of accomplishment of crossing the finish line. There's nothing like that feeling. I'm so excited to hear all about this nonprofit and to share it with you. Welcome to Celebrate Michigan, the show produced on the campus of Madonna University. I'm Chris Benson, and today's guest will be talking about and sharing his experience with Ainsley's Angels. Welcome, PJ Sapienza, to the show. And we were talking, it means wisdom, your last name, so
Yes.
I expect you to bring a lot of that today.
Well, we'll see. No pressure.
Okay, awesome. So how did you come to learn about Ainsley's Angels?
So I've volunteered with Special Olympics most of my life, and I had an athlete from there who's in a wheelchair. We had talked about doing a race together and tried to find buying her a chair, and they're just really expensive. Another friend did some web searching and came across Ainsley's Angels, so we were going to raise money for a chair for this one girl. And after doing some research, I'm like, this is a pretty good organization. What if I raise money for a second chair? And they called me and said, why don't you just bring the program to Michigan? Talked to the wife, and she's like, all right, let's do it. So we brought it to March of 18.
Oh, wow. And tell me, is it just in a few states? How many states are, and if you don't know how many, but...
No, we're in roughly 30 states.
Oh, my gosh.
Yep, and then some states have multiple chapters. Well, I'm the only one from Michigan right now, but we have other states that have additional chapters in them. So.
Oh, that's awesome. I peeked at your website and was just amazed at again, the broad reach of the organization. And it sounds like in a short amount of time, it's really catching on.
Yeah, 2011 was when they started in Virginia and Louisiana.
Wow. So were you into running and racing before this?
Yeah, I was a sprinter back in high school, and
Okay.
then retired for several years and started doing 5Ks. And in 2013, I started running marathons. And then once I learned about Ainsley's, I just kind of adapted my two passions, running and helping special needs people. So.
And tell us a little bit about the inspiration for the organization and really a little deeper about the story.
So Ainsley Rossiter is who Ainsley's Angels is named after. She had a very rare condition called INAD. When she was diagnosed, there was like 15 people in the country that had it. It only affects children, and it's always fatal. And her therapist told her dad to take her for a run in her stroller that she had, and then her face lit up and she loved it. So he wasn't a runner then, but went to a local 5K and took her, and then looked at, trying to find some type of racing chariot to push her in, and just saw a need for this with other people, and she did 100 races before she passed away.
100 races?
100 races. And
wow.
After she passed, her family decided to keep this going, and yeah, now we're 30 states and growing.
Well, and I looked at the website, and there's YouTube videos and just a little, background, and it was so moving. I mean, just to see, I had never heard of this condition before that you mentioned, and the idea, and you just said it's always fatal, and how that must feel for a parent to know that that's coming for their child. It's got to be devastating, and I'm sure at this point you've met a lot of people that have been going through that situation or going through similar situations. What does it mean to them when they get to see their child experiencing a race like this?
It's amazing. Part of it, if you have a child with special needs, sometimes you feel like on an island, because the families don't necessarily understand what you go through. So then they get to come to an event where there's other parents and different conditions going on, different diagnosis, but there's someone who understands. So they have that time to be able to do that while we're running, and then their athlete while riding. I had one rider after a race, their parent messaged me that he was pushing on the foot pedal while they were running, so he felt runner's cramps and legs was sore after the run, and she was just in tears telling me like that was amazing. He got to feel what it was like to be an athlete, to be a runner.
Yeah, wow. Thinking back, do you remember your first race where you were pushing one of the chariots?
Yeah, it was a Memorial Day race in Pinckney.
Okay.
And trying to get everything set up with everyone else, and the race took off, and I was trying to get someone who showed up late into a chair, and all of a sudden, the race started, I should probably take off now, and it was a great time though.
And did you know, like, how do you get paired with someone that you're pushing? Is that a volunteer situation, or do you meet? Do you know who you're pushing ahead of time?
Yes to all that.
Okay, tell us.
So riders sign up for us,
Okay.
and they end up on a roster. So right now I have about 80 athletes that are riders. Yep.
Okay.
We have about 250 volunteers right now, so not everyone does every race, obviously. And when a race becomes available, they tell us they're interested. We pair them with however many runners. We try to put at least 2 runners with every rider so that you
Okay.
get to change on and off, and that depends on the length of the race. When we do a marathon, we may have 3 or 4 people trading off pushing. 5Ks, maybe 1 or 2, depending on the needs and what
Yeah.
persons want.
So for those who might be like new to racing, you've got a 5K, so that's like 3.1 miles. So you're pushing this piece of equipment with a person in it for 3.1 miles. Then when you got a marathon, half marathon, 13.1.
Yep.
And then full 26.2.
That's it.
Wow. What does that, what kind of endurance do you need as someone who's pushing? You know, I imagine, I mean, running 26.2 miles is a lot to begin with, but then having that stamina to do that, how do you train for that?
Yeah, you're not showing up that morning and deciding to run a marathon, so.
No, not at all.
There's some training. We do, for especially the longer races, we'll take just practice runs and let people go out and train and do however many miles to get used to it. Most of the time when you've done a marathon pushing, you've already done several 5Ks and maybe a 10K, so you're more adept to doing it.
What are some of the challenges you as a person who's racing have to think about or plan for?
So one thing, these are made to move. And they can turn well, but in a bigger crowd it does get a little rough. So most races we always try to start in front, and they'll give us maybe like a 30-second head start, and then we all move to the side so the faster runners can get by us, and then we're kind of in the pack then, and we're out of that initial cram of rush at the beginning, and we're able to maneuver then throughout everything.
Wow, and I know in the coming segments we're going to talk about the actual chariots. These are just amazing to see, and all the features that they have, and they're decorated, and I know we'll talk about sponsorships, but for you, just kind of going through this and going through, is there a race that you can remember that was like your favorite race doing this?
That's like asking who your favorite kid is.
Well,
you know?
yeah, for sure.
Our first Detroit half marathon
Okay.
was awesome, taking our rider over the bridge in the morning.
Bridge,
Yep.
yeah.
We've got video of us running over it, and she plays it nonstop. And it's that was back in 18. We did that, and drives her mom nuts. I get messages. I'm tired of watching your video of this. Let's go do another race. So.
I love that. But
Yep.
imagine to see that perspective just would be awesome.
Yeah.
So, and you got to do that. Well, it's already time for a short break. Stay with us, and we're going to learn more about Ainsley's Angels. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Peter, and there's nothing I love more than sharing vegetables with my friends.
Come on in. Help yourself to anything.
That's why we give our food the utmost respect it deserves. Did you know there are simple steps we can all take to help save food? You can cook it, store it, even share it. Just don't waste it. Because when it comes to food, better ate than never. To learn more, visit savethefood.com.
So my uncle calls and he says he's dizzy and he's losing his balance. I'm like, Unc, you want me to take you to a doctor? He's like, no, I'm gonna look up the symptoms. I said, your symptoms are you're dizzy and you're losing your balance. So he said, I can't get on the internet because my arm is numb. I said, well, use your good arm and dial 911. Stroke's no joke. If you or someone you love is showing symptoms of stroke, don't wait because it might be too late. Dial 911. Time lost is brain loss.
Marie, you have prediabetes.
Prediabetes? I don't have time to eat right or exercise. I'm a busy mom.
Oh, you're a busy mom.
Yeah.
This is great news. Busy moms never get prediabetes.
Wait, what?
Let me just... Yeah, this is all the people at risk for prediabetes, and way over here, busy moms. No?
Oh, emojis! I thought the conversation just got dumber.
Ugh, internet trolls, just ignore them.
I like you just the way you are.
I believe in you!
She's a hugger. Give her a squeeze.
Help up the hand.
Ah, there you go.
Thanks, mate.
You're killing it, Jane!
Welcome back to Celebrate Michigan. I'm Chris Benson, and joining us today to talk more about Ainsley's Angels is PJ Sapienza. So PJ, let's talk about the riders. Who qualifies, if you will, to be part of this, and what kind of disabilities do the different riders have?
So most people assume you have to be in a wheelchair to ride in our chariots. While most of our riders are, that's not a requirement. Cerebral palsy, autism, Down syndrome. We've had cancer patients, heart transplant patients, stroke, TBI, spina bifida. List goes on. Seizure disorders. If someone has a desire to do a race and can't do it on their own and need our assistance, they pretty much qualify.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a pretty wide range of people that'll show up to do a race with us.
What's one of the most common misconceptions you think people have about the persons who can ride in the race?
That they just can't do something. We're big on inclusion, so we try to open barriers and see what we can do, what's possible, and not stop at what a diagnosis is. So thinking what else can happen if we just start with a race, what other doors will that open? And
I imagine that the racers or runners, and do you call it the racer and then the rider? Is that the appropriate term?
Or pusher.
Pusher, okay. Do you get to interact with the family? Do you meet the family at all when you're working? And what has that been like for you to see and interact with them?
Oh, it's been amazing. Yeah, we have some that are independent on their own, and they show up on their own. But the ones that families that come, to interact with the parents and or caregivers and or spouses. We've had some stroke patients that it's a spouse that brings them out. We had a guy who was a former marathon runner himself, had a couple strokes, couldn't do it anymore, but wife brought him back out and he was able to do races again. So that he loved that. He would smile every time and just get so excited to do a race again like he used to.
So then you've got our riders. Talk about your pushers. What would qualify me to be a pusher?
Do you want to run?
Well, maybe yes.
Then therefore you qualify.
Oh, okay.
So most people think, oh, I'm not fast enough.
Yeah.
No such thing.
That would be the case for me.
We're inclusive. We're inclusive. So
okay, good. That's great.
we have a few speedy people that go fast, and then most of us are kind of middle of the pack runners. And then we have some, they just like the party crowd, they call themselves, and they'll take selfies along the way. And I have one rider that asks for her lady, she says, and they'll run and walk a little bit and take some selfies along the way and just have a party. They finished the last race, they were all singing top 40 songs.
Oh my gosh. Is there a time or a race that you've run when you've been a pusher that you can think of where you had interaction with the rider and, describe what that was like?
So I have a lady that I push most of the time. She's my partner. We're called Team Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, how lovely.
Yes, I'll let you pick which one's which, and you haven't even seen her. So normally when we get close to the end of the race, she just knows and she starts pointing at people, and I have to catch them then. And she's nonverbal, so she just points. And then the last sprint at the end, however fast she raises her arm and shakes it, that's how fast we go at the end. So that's her interaction, that's her driving our race then. And we like to say our riders pull us, that we're not pushing them.
Awesome.
So she's pulling us through that end of the race.
Well, and I know we've got some pictures we're going to show here that give our audience an idea of what this looks like.
Okay.
So tell us, if you can, what we're looking at. Oh, look at the celebration there.
Yes. And that's actually a special story. Through doing the races with us, she's gained a lot of confidence, and she decided she wanted to give a speech. So at her church, she wanted to tell people about Ainsley, so we went there, and her big thing she explained to everyone was at the starting line, the excitement, and that she doesn't feel like she has a disability. That it's everyone's athlete, whether they're in the chair, whether it's pushing, whether it's just random runner next to her, they all have the same goal to complete that race.
Awesome.
And so that's really exciting. This was a rider telling her, it's the party runner I was telling you about. So she was telling the ladies pushing her that she loves them and thanks for doing what they're doing for her.
That's the pusher view, huh?
Yep, that's the pusher view. So that's one of our favorite pictures, is her doing that heart sign. Pre-race, we try to take a big picture. We have, looks like 8 or 10 different riders there ready to go. I believe that's our night race we do in Fenton, or Linden, I'm sorry, on Airport Runway.
Oh, very cool.
So we put glow sticks on the chariots and all that. We've also expanded to where we do other inclusive events, and this is our downhill skiing that we do with Michigan, our Brighton Adaptive Sports at Mount Brighton.
Oh, wow. That looks awesome.
And then that's Team Beauty and the Beast.
There it is.
Yep.
I don't see the tutu. I was told there might be a tutu.
That's true. I think that was one of our earlier races before she decided I needed to wear a tutu in every race.
Oh.
That's that outfit with a pink tutu and a pink bandana. So there's not much more I can get pink.
Well, and the race atmosphere is just so uplifting for anybody who's watching who hasn't been a spectator or participated in race culture. It is something to behold. adding this on top of it, where you've got people volunteering, and then you mentioned the riders who might not have had this experience before. What do you get out of that as a runner, as a pusher?
You get so much more than what you're giving when you're pushing. It's that heart sign being thrown up in the middle of a race, or the week before a race, my rider will always text me, where your tutu, time to race, I'm excited, how many days, and so just the excitement they have, it's just infectious, and it just makes you want to come back and push and do more races.
And it looks like there's costuming that can be involved, theme dressing.
The tutu's kind of a big thing now. So when she started that, about half of our team now does it. You don't have to, so I don't think a tutu scare anybody away. But yeah, a lot of our riders and runners end up wearing them now.
Well,
but pink is our color, so we are mostly in pink.
I love that, and I see that on the different chariots that we have here today too. And what I think is so neat about that is that personalization that can happen. Again, it's like a team effort. It's not just one or the other. It sounds like you're both giving to each other to get through that hard race, and which I'm sure you've done in some challenging conditions as well. Because isn't the weather always perfect when you're racing?
I wish that were true.
Any horror stories about some really interesting Michigan weather or otherwise?
Michigan weather. We've been pretty lucky in Michigan races. I did Marine Corps out in D.C. And we had a lot of rain in that one, so it was a little rough. Luckily, the chair we were pushing that day had a cover, so the rider was somewhat dry.
Oh, that's wonderful.
The two of us pushing were not so much.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine that was probably a little sloshy.
A little bit.
Well, we've got one more segment after this. Stay with us.
Okay.
And you stay with us too, and we're going to learn more about Ainsley's Angels. And we're going to talk about these awesome chariots, so stay tuned.
They call me Prince like I'm royalty or something. But the places I've lived ain't no palaces. So I don't need grilled salmon or a new scratching post. Just give me a cardboard box and a can of tuna and we're good. You can even change my name. I'm cool being the kitty formerly known as Prince.
Maria, so how's work?
It was fourth period biology. Our students just weren't getting how easily viruses spread. So Miss Bell and I had them role play a zombie virus outbreak. By the time they had all learned the lesson, all the living were dead. Hey, how's your job going?
That big sales meeting I planned? Next year, I might get to go.
Cool.
My name's Reggie. Just recently, my wife and I took in her sister's children. Now, we already had 4, so I went from becoming a family man to a man with a bigger family. Now, you can't eat love, so I don't know how I'm gonna feed them tonight. How was that, Rich?
I think I look more like Denzel.
That's cold, man.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
A full life, measured in seats, starts with the right ones early on. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Learn how to prevent deaths and injuries by using the right car seat for your child's age and size.
Welcome back to Celebrate Michigan. I'm Chris Benson, and once again I'm joined by PJ Sapienza, who's talking about Ainsley's Angels, an organization that he has brought here to Michigan, and we are so glad you did. These chariots, I've been looking at them. They are awesome. Tell us a little bit about what's different. Each of them looks like they're a little bit different.
Yep. So we normally, all of our ambassadorships around the country, always start with the blue one here to the right. It's kind of the entry-level one. Someone up to about 5'8", and about 200 pounds can fit into that.
Okay.
There's a canopy that'll come up to keep them out of the sun or out of the rain if need be.
Nice.
So that's kind of the entry one, and then we've had sponsors that help sponsor some of them as well.
Yeah.
And then the two pink ones are, this one's a blade right in front of us.
Okay.
And then there's an Axiom on the far side. The Axiom there can fit someone 300 pounds, 6, 7 foot. We have a rider in Virginia, he's like 6'6" and rides in one and absolutely loves it. And then they come with different headrest and different side pads and all that, so that riders that have some body issues and that we can help pad them so that they're comfortable in the ride while they're doing the race.
Awesome. And I see there's like different grips. It looks like, is that a brake on that one over there? There's like a hand grip or?
Yep, that's for a grip for like going up hills. You need
Okay.
to power up one, but there is a handbrake on that as well. And then the two pink ones have adjustable armrests so that as you're going, different heights people, you can switch something really quick to be able to fit who's ever pushing and what their need is.
Well, and I looked on the website and I saw that, is there a way that people can apply for, to get some help with these chariots? How does a rider or a runner, participate in that?
So Ainsley'sAngels.org is our national website. And you could join the family is what it says and pick if you want to be a rider or a runner. We also have guardian angels, so people who don't do either but still want to help in some way, they can come to races and help us set up in the morning before we go or tear down, help us sell merch and other areas like that.
So do you have to have, let's say I'm a slow runner and I'm interested, I'm watching and I'm like, you know what, maybe this is something I want to do. What do I have to go through to participate and to maybe get ready for a race that's coming? Let's say it's 3 months from now.
So sign up on the website and then you get an email from me and give you our schedule on that. And then I do demo runs sometimes if it's a rider who wants to come out and try a chariot before they do a race. Or if it's a runner who's nervous about pushing and wants to push one empty before someone's in it. And we'll do trial runs, demo runs. We run with Running Lab in Brighton. They're one of our sponsors, and so we have riders show up there. So I'll have new people, if they want to try, come out to a Tuesday night run with us and be able to demo a chair and see what it feels like.
Yeah, you mentioned the organization, the Mount Brighton Adaptive Program. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Again, my rider wanted to try skiing that I deal with, and we looked up. Mount Brighton has this great program, and we hooked up with them. One of their people on their board is actually now one of our riders as well.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, kind of go both ways. And once a year we go out and have a ski day with them in their ski chariots, basically.
So if there's someone watching right now and maybe they're a family member and they've got someone in their family where they're like, you know what, I would love them to be a rider, but I'm just not sure. I'm feeling really unsure about it because it's, there's like a loss of control there, right? Like it's another person and I'm not sure. What would you say to them?
Give it a try. Give it a try. We'll come out, make you feel comfortable, make you okay with everything happening. The chairs are safe. There's seat belts and everything else in them to make sure that the rider is not only comfortable but safe, and they're going to love it. And our age range is wide. Our youngest rider was 4. Our oldest was 94.
Oh wow!
So,
what a range!
What a range! Yes.
And are there races that you do every year annually, or are like this is one you're always going to see us at? And where can we find that information?
So on the website again, Ainsley'sAngels.org, we'll have the schedule, have our race. It'll also have the rest of the nation's races. But then once you're on our email list and our Facebook page on Facebook.com AA Michigan, that'll show our schedule for each year. We do have a handful of races that we do the same, and then we try to change it up a little bit. So we do 10 to 12 races a year, usually 5Ks, but we throw in a couple 10Ks, halves, and even a full marathon in there.
So what does the future look like for Ainsley's Angels in Michigan?
Well, we want to get some more of the bigger chairs to fit some larger riders. We have enough of the blue chairs now that fit the smaller riders that have those, but some of these bigger chairs are nice.
So can we help with that? You're looking for donations?
Always looking for donations, always looking for sponsorship, yep.
I'm assuming I can find that on the website as well.
You can find that on the website as well, or just grab the guy in the pink shirt and ask. So.
Yeah. And what has this organization meant to you?
Wow. Just love. Opening doors, breaking down barriers for people, making them seen, getting them off the sidelines and across finish lines. That's huge. Love doing it.
Do you see it expanding within Michigan?
Oh yeah. So I cover Southeast Michigan, so everything from Lansing to Detroit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love to see us, have programs on the west side or up north somewhere as well. Other states have 4 or 5 ambassadorships in them, so right now it's just me, but we cover a pretty wide area.
So if I was on the fence, if I'm watching and I'm like, well, I'm not sure, I could start as a guardian angel. Is that right? Okay, so I could come to a race, maybe help set up.
Yep. Come to the race, come check it out, set up, watch the
Okay.
finish line, see the excitement,
Okay.
get hooked.
Get hooked and then come. And I imagine it's kind of a party scene out there too, in some ways, where people are celebrating and just so excited about the accomplishments.
Yeah, I mean, we're can't miss us running around in pink. So even during races, other runners are high-fiving us and us, not only the pushers but also our riders, and welcoming them as part of the race in the middle of it.
And there's nothing like getting that medal, right? And
Oh,
I
yeah.
imagine it's all the more sweeter when you can share that experience of service with another human.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, and get the great race shots. That's always the part in the race where, they go to capture a picture of you and I'm like, oh, I wasn't ready,
It's when you're taking that walk break and you see the camera, so you start running again really quick.
Yeah, they see me walking and I'm like, I was really running up until now.
That's right.
Well, PJ, it's been wonderful having you on the show today.
Thanks
I
for
wish
having
you
us.
all the best of luck with this organization, and I'm hoping that our viewers have been inspired to help support you in some way, because it looks like just an awesome experience.
Well, we hope to see that out there, and maybe you too.
Maybe.
All right.
Stay tuned. And thank you for watching, where we celebrate just all the wonderful things like this happening in Michigan. It's a great state, isn't it? Take care of yourself, and we'll see you next time.